YouTube, greetings to everyone. Long time no see. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing good, been busy. I'm getting back around to these videos here. Made some reviews, and now we're getting to this Q&A video. This Q&A video is pretty late, but hey, it's here and we're making it now, so that's all that matters, right? All right, I was messing around with my other camera, my Android. It seemed like it was I don't know, it just seemed better than using my Android than my iPhone, but I realized that my iPhone has more lighting on it. It seemed like there's more light. So all right, so basically what I'm gonna do, as usual, I'm gonna read these questions and then I'm gonna go ahead and answer them as thorough as I can, okay? So if you're new to watching these particular videos, normally when I make these Q&A videos, I just read the question and I answer it just, you know, on the spot. So there's no limit, but today we only have about 28 questions, so it's not that long. It won't be that long. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right. Okay, let's see who we have here first. Of course, we have our friend Palabra. All right, so he says, hello, Moses. What's the language that is the most distant to English? I mean, a language that contains no English words. A language that you have to learn 100% from scratch. I heard that in Chinese they only say cafe. What's the language called I'm looking for? Thanks as always. What's the language it's called? Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, Chinese definitely is one of them, because they don't really have any English words you can use except for the one that you just mentioned, coffee. That's the closest that you're going to get to English. I mean, they have some they have a little a way, like English names, maybe English places like Cleveland or Atlanta or something like that. They do have a special way that they, in Chinese, they use the Chinese pronunciation, and they try to, whatever the sound, like let me see, like for example, Ohio, they say Ohio, like they say Ohio. They'll do stuff like that. But as far as, I would say, Chinese is definitely a language that you have to learn from scratch if you're a native English speaker. There's no, you don't have any advantages when you learn that language. You have to learn the pronunciation. Pronunciation is totally different. You have to learn these tones. You have to learn characters. I mean, it's a very difficult language when it comes to that type of stuff. But you know, it's not the most difficult language in the world, as some people would say. But it's pretty. It's a language that I would say that you have to start from scratch. Now, other than Chinese, I would say some other languages that I've messed around with and am currently messing with are Hungarian and Finnish. Like those languages, they're really yeah, those languages you have to start from scratch as well, you know. So all right, Palabra, thanks as usual. Thanks for your questions. If you have any other questions, hold on for a second. I want to just send me a message. Oh, if you have any other questions, let me know. You know what to do. You're not new to this. All right. So, what's next here? Who's next? Let me see. Give me a second here. Scroll down here. All right. TYA. He says, do you have any experience studying Dravidian languages? Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada? If so, how much difficulty have you had with them? Also, do you plan on studying new language in the future, or just honing the ones that you have tried so far? Which ones, and what makes a language attractive to you as something to study? Thank you. All right, I believe I saw you here before. If this is your first time, welcome to the channel. Thanks for your question. Thanks for tuning in to the channel. Actually, I dabbled with Tamil a little bit. in the past. Just I didn't really study it seriously. I just played around with the language. So from my experience, it was, yeah, it's definitely a difficult language. It's different. Um, it definitely requires a lot of time to really get used to certain patterns and whatnot. But I haven't studied it in depth, so I can't really say much about that much about the language. Now, you also asked me, do I plan on studying language? Oh yeah, I always have updates on new languages that I plan on studying. I'm constantly learning. Um, I have, like, for this year, I know. Let me see. We're getting to the end of this year, so some upcoming languages that I have in mind learning are Ukrainian, um, Slovenian. Um, what other new languages? Slovenian, Ukrainian. I thought I had some other ones in mind. I can't remember right now. But yeah, definitely I'm gonna have some new languages that I'm gonna be learning this year. So every year I always have new languages that I start learning. So if you're a regular viewer of of my videos, excuse me, you'll be updated. I always update people and let them know what language that I'm going to be learning in the future. So, all right. Thanks a lot for your question. Hold on. You asked me something. Which one? What makes a language attractive to you as something to study? So well, you probably don't know if this is your first time here. Cantonese is like my favorite language, and the reason why Cantonese is my favorite language, well, first of all, it's an Asian language. I've always been, Asian languages have been the most attractive to me from the beginning. I started with Asian languages. Now, Cantonese particularly is because the way the language sounds. There's a certain rhythm to the language that really it's appealing to me. It's really, I love it. I love the way it sounds. It's just great. So for me, I think it's mostly the way the language sounds, and there's a certain rhythm to it, and that really turns me on. It gets me really excited. I mean, it's just, I can't even really explain the full feeling of that. But the sound of that language. Yeah, I think that's all you asked me. Thanks a lot for your question, and I look forward to your future questions. All right, next question, Luke Truman. Hi, Moses. I wanted to try and record a few of my conversations on my trip to Hong Kong in August. Oh, that's next month. And I wanted to know if you had any advice for how to record spontaneous conversations like you do. I know you hide a camera in your hat. I don't want people to see me holding a camera or phone and pointing at them either, because I think it will make the interactions a lot less natural. But on the other hand, I have spoken to a few people about this, and they seem uncomfortable with the idea of recording people without them knowing. Any any advice, thoughts will be appreciated. All right, thanks a lot for your question. I think I've seen you here before. Thanks a lot for your question. Yeah, a lot of people don't agree with what I do, but I have my own reasons why I do it. Um, a lot of people are out there leveling up and learning a lot because of what I've showed them. My strategies and whatnot, how I go about practicing with people on a daily basis. And you know, some people don't like it when I do that, but you know, I've gotten a lot of people respond to me, message me and tell me, email me how their language learning level, as far as like learning a language, how it has gotten better due to doing similar things that I do, and that makes me feel happy because I've inspired. That shows me that I've helped someone else achieve something that they didn't think that will be possible. So there are some benefits for me doing that. It's some people may say it's unethical recording people without them knowing, but it's like, to me, I feel that as long as, if it's not too personal, if it gets really personal, if something personal it was said, or I wouldn't do it. But it is just all depends. But here in Ohio, it's not legal. You can record people. It's a one-party consent thing. But I mean, we all being recorded on a daily basis. Every time you step out of your house, you're being recorded. When you go into any building, you're being recorded. You know, it's you know. But anyway, I'm digressing from your question. So you know that I use a hat to record. That has been the best. That has been my best strategy for recording. If you guys not familiar with the hat, I'm going to show you right now. Let me take this hat off here. So this, so I use this hat to record. My little Russian hat, and basically you got a little hole right there, and I have my camera just hitting there. It's my little camera in that hole there, and I just record. And you know, it looks like a camera if you pay attention to it. If you really sit there and look at it, it looks like a camera. But I think most of the time people, they're so stunned, and they first of all trying to figure out why this. They're trying to figure out why this about 6'6" black man is talking to them, want to talk to them. And then when I start speaking that language, then they really stunned. So they're not really paying attention to that. You know, so yeah, the hat has been the best thing for me. I had a look-see cam that I put on my ear. Many of you know I put it right here, and you know, that kind of looks suspicious too. You know, because I remember some people asked me, "Is that a camera? Is that a camera?" I was recording. I used that for like maybe 3 months, 4 months before I transitioned over into the GoPro. And then what else I use? Oh, of course, I use my cell phone, especially for times when it's a bonus level up, or when it's like I'm in a place and I didn't intend to record. And I said, "Oh, wait, this is a good opportunity." I'll use my phone. Obviously, since that's the only option that I have at the time, I don't have my GoPros, so I just use that. But I think if you use a phone, you have to hold it in a way that doesn't look obvious, especially if you're going for reactions, because when somebody knows they're being recorded, it's not the same. It's not the same. So I mean, just think about it. Think about it. If I walked up to you and say, "Hey, I'm studying languages and I want to record you. Do you mind?" Then they may say, "Oh, that's fine, that's fine." Then they're going to be the reaction is not going to be it's not going to be a genuine reaction. They may react a little bit, but it's not the same. It's not the same, you know. So yeah, so you can use the hat method. You can use I've even on this bag here, right here, Eric gave me this bag right here. This bag here, it has a pocket here, and normally when I go to festivals, I put the camera inside here, and you know, and I'll be recording. But see, in that setting, there's nothing wrong with that, because you can see people walking around at festivals like this. Look, you can see people like this. They walking around with their cameras. They're recording because it's that type of setting. That's what people do at festivals. So that's when I use the bag like that. And you can also use a shirt. You know, maybe somehow when I want to do my live stream level ups, I have this shirt here, and it has a pocket on it, and I put my phone in that pocket. I normally use my Android for that. So yeah, you just have to be creative. When I started using the GoPro, I had to be creative and figure out how I was going to use that camera, you know. And I'm pretty sure you'll be able to come up with something. But yeah, it's great. And then like it's funny when you do the recording and then you go back. Oh, what happened here? Did I Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, there it is. So it's funny when you go back and watch the footage after you record it. It's really funny, and it's actually good for learning. You can go back and listen, and I mean it's really good. But wow, that was yeah. Um, all right, Luke. I wish you the best, man. Um, Hope you find out a way to record when you out in the battlefield. All right. Let me know if you have any other questions. Next question, Foxy the Pirate. Hello, Mr. Moses. I wanted to know, what is your opinion on Mongol languages? If you don't know what it is, that is fine. Thanks. Mongol languages. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is that a pro? I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly. Let me know what that is. In the next Q&A video, I will talk more about that. Let me see. Next question, Ray K. Hi Moses, could you explain to me in detail how your course works? Basically, when I order, can I download it to my phone, or do I have to be at a computer? Does the course work like a CD-ROM where you follow instructions on the computer? Can you take me through the learning process, e.g. listen, write, repeat? I just want to know the structure of it before I order, and will I know absolutely everything you know in that language? For instance, will I be able to say exactly everything you say in your Somali level of videos? Also, how many words do you learn in each level of your courses? You become conversational in 3 months, but what is that in terms of hours? I remember in one of your videos you mentioned studying 3 hours per day. Is that the case, or do you study more each day? Teach yourself. Let me see. Teach yourself states that their complete edition needs 100 hours of study time. Could you please tell me what app blocks these blasted YouTube video at what? Could you please tell me what app blocks these blasted YouTube video adverts? They are really getting on nerves. On a long level of videos, they just pop up, say 2 or 3 times, and that's not including the one before. Okay. All right. So, thanks for your question, Ray K. So let's go back to the top. So basically, when you order the course, first of all, you can't download it on your phone. I've had several people try to do this and were unsuccessful. You have to be at a computer. It's not like, as far as instructions, there's instructions inside of that you follow. It's not like you put the CD in and follow instructions. The instructions are there in the course when you open it up, and I basically go into detail what you need to do with the course on a daily basis. Let me see, E.G. Can you take me through the learning process? Yeah. So, yeah, I explained that basically the process of what you need to do on a daily basis in the instructions. That's where you will get that information at. I just want to know the structure. Absolutely everything. As far as you being able to say everything I can say, a lot of this, especially if I'm at the beginning stages. If you watch my first Somali videos, all that stuff that you heard me saying, you will be able to say the same thing if you went to that same course. Now, I did have some other courses I was using for Somali, but for the most part, that FLR course was the backbone for me. All those sentences that I was putting together, it came from that course. So naturally, if you go through that, you will be able to do the same thing with the right practice, of course. How many words do you learn in each level of your courses? You know what? I need to, because I don't really look at how many words actually. I don't really break it down to how many words, but maybe I need to do that for the future. Just break it down for these type of questions, because I don't really know how many words. I just learn the words. I don't know exactly how many. I don't know the exact number of how many words I learn. As far as hours, yeah, I say it about 3 hours. If you can do like 3 hours a day, but if you're doing it by yourself, you probably want to do like 3 hours a day, 4 times a week. But if you have someone, if you have a native speaker whom you're meeting with, you don't have to spend that much time, because you'll be meeting with that native speaker for 1 hour. Okay, you're pretty much doing everything during that session, and the only thing that you will have to do outside of the session is basically listen and do some writing exercises if you want. And that, I mean, writing exercises don't really take that long. That could be like 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So it all depends on if you're doing it by yourself, then you have to spend more time, obviously. But if you're working with someone else, then it won't take as much time, up as much time. What else did you ask me here? I think you're talking about these at the end. You asked me what apps block these YouTube video ads. That's actually on those videos, and I know on my videos, particularly the level up, well, basically all my videos, I have it enabled for ads. This Google Ads, it's part of Google AdSense. Unless I enable, I could turn it off. If I turn it off, you won't get that. But as far as blocking them, I don't know of a program that will block them. But I do know that you will have to manually click on that ad. When it pops up, you manually exit out and it will close it. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot for your question, and let me know if you have any other questions. Contact me through email, or you can ask me here in the comment section. iTuber012, how you doing, sir? How you doing? Travel to Ethiopia, you'll be pleasant. Yes. Oh, you didn't even ask me a question. You didn't ask me a question. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Abdul. Hello, Moses. My name is Abdul Rahman. It's an Arabic name. I speak Arabic since it's my first language along with English. I'm learning Korean language right now. I need an advice or something about what books should I use. Keep it up. I love your videos. Welcome to the channel, Abdul. As you know, there are plenty of books out there for Korean. A lot of books out there. Many, many books. So I always ask people that when they ask me what books do you recommend? I always ask them, well, what are you trying to do? Because I can just give you a list of books to buy, but it may not suit what you're trying to achieve. So you're going to have to tell me, what are your goals for learning Korean? What do you want to do? Do you want to be able to communicate with people? Do you just want to be able to read the language? I have to know that information in order to provide you more information in regards to the resources that you can use for learning that language. So what you can do when you see this video, for the next Q&A, let me know what it is you're interested in doing, and then I can give you more information on which books you can get. Okay? All right. Thanks a lot for your question, sir. All right. What's next? We're about 24 minutes? Let me see. Hey, Moses, you probably remember me. I was in one of your Q&As a while ago, and I'm in your live streams all the time. My question is, I am learning sign language. I know you haven't studied it yet, but what is the best way to remember words since you can't write them down? Thanks for your time. Have an amazing day. Keep learning, keep smiling, never give up. You're amazing, and don't let anyone tell you different. All right, George. How you doing, sir? Yeah, I do remember you from the stream, actually. You know what? It's really difficult for me to answer this question because I don't really have experience learning sign language, so I don't have any strategies that you can use as far as remembering words that you don't write down. Cause see, for me, when I start learning sign language, my plan is to take a class, and it makes sense. I'm going to take a class to have interaction with other people. I'm not saying that I can't learn a certain amount on my own, but I think if you really want to learn rapidly, you're going to have that interaction with other people who are learning that language as well. You know, so I don't know. Words that you can't write down, how do you remember them? That's really hard for me to answer. Yeah, best way to remember words since you can't write them down. Yeah, so a language like sign language, yeah, that's going to require some exposure and practice, daily practice with a group or with someone who is proficient in that language. So sorry, man, I can't really answer that question thoroughly, but yeah, once I get that experience, I can share all my strategies and whatnot and how I went about learning to remember the words. Okay, let me see who's next. Thanks a lot, George. Okay, what's next? Okay, Laura. He asked me something in Spanish. ¿Usas clásica? ¿Te gusta asimil más que clásica o el contrario? So he asked me, do I use Glossica? And he asked me if I like asimil more than the Glossica course. So, do I use it actively? No. I bought one of his courses a couple years ago, his Chinese one. I want to try. I'm always open to trying new methods, and I wanted to get an idea of what his method was about, and I think he got a good thing going on there. Do I like Asimil more than that? I wouldn't say that, because I look at both of them. I look at Asimil and that Glossica course pretty much. They're pretty much for what I would use them for is they're pretty much the same, on the same level, you know. But yeah, I've used it. I haven't went through his whole, because he has like a certain method that he uses when he goes to that. I haven't followed that method. I just kind of looked through what his content, and just kind of see how it was laid out and whatnot. But yeah, let me see. So thanks a lot for your question. Next question. All right, by Phantom X 79. So, hey Moses, just started watching your videos and I am addicted. I was wondering what you thought about people trying to learn. Okay, I got distracted. I'm sorry. Hey Moses, just started watching your videos, man, and man, I'm addicted. I was wondering what you thought about people trying to learn multiple languages at the same time. Would you say a beginner who is out to learn their first language outside their mother tongue learn one, and someone who may be trying to pick up a third would be more attuned for better results? Thanks. All right, great question there. Very common question. So, I've said this before, and I will continue to say this. If you are a beginner, okay, and you have no experience learning other languages, I'm sorry, I got these email notifications popping up on the phone, so that's why. But if you have no experience learning other languages, I would suggest you not to really learn multiple languages at the same time. Now, it's possible you could do up to 2, but I would say focus on one and get strong in that one, get comfortable, and then start other ones. Why? Because when you do that and you start another language, you will have a base. You will have a foundation on how to go about learning the language, or what it takes to learn a language. You will know how it feels. So, for example, let's say you learn Spanish first. You got really comfortable in that language. When you start learning something else, even if something that's completely different from Spanish. Let's say you after Spanish you want to learn Japanese. You're gonna know how it feels to learn the language. You're gonna know how that feeling of that process, and you're gonna be able to constantly remind yourself that just be patient and you will get there as long as you keep working at it, as long as you keep practicing and doing what you're supposed to do in order to get the results that you want in that language. You will be able to remind yourself of that. Whereas if you don't have any experience, it'll be a bit harder. You'll be questioning your own abilities, as if you had the a talent to learn, or is language learning for you, and those type of questions. You'll be questioning yourself, which will as a result forces you to give up and just stop learning the language. That's what happens. That's what will happen. So yeah. So yeah, I would just focus on one language and just get strong with that, and then start a different language. That's my suggestion from my experience. That's what I would do. Oh, another thing, another thing you could do, you could if you just want to learn like a couple words or phrases, you can do that in multiple languages. But as far as studying them, trying to get like really speaking them, like conversation, like getting to a level like that, then you probably don't want to do that at first. That's what I would suggest. Thanks a lot for your question, Phantom X. Look forward to any other questions you may have. Next question. Let me see. By Roger Diaz. Okay, hold on, Roger. Oh, Roger. So, hey Mos, I'm Roger from Catalonia. I would like to know, what language can you remember well, and even you did not practice it for years? Thanks. Okay, interesting question. I would say definitely Chinese, because that's my strongest language. That's the language that I have more experience with. If I don't practice that language, if I don't practice it for like 2 years, 3 years, or something like that, I will still feel comfortable speaking with someone. Now, I think I will forget some stuff, like maybe certain expressions that I haven't really used for a long time. I mean, there are some expressions that I forgot that I haven't used for a long time. Yeah, a lot of expressions that I knew before, I can't remember them because I ain't been really using them. But as far as speaking, like having a conversation with someone, I don't think I'll forget how to do that. Like I'm so comfortable doing that in that language. I don't think I'll forget that. I mean, a lot of years will have to go by for me to completely forget. So, and I said this before, like the longer you study a language, the longer you practice it, the harder it's going to be to start forgetting stuff, especially when it comes to communication. You're not going to be forgetting things that easily, especially if you've been doing it for a long time. So, all right, thanks for your question, Roger. Next question by Jake Bitterman. All right. Hey man, big fan. Your level ups keep me excited, learning, and motivated. My question is, a couple of weeks ago, I started learning Mandarin for fun, but now I'm dating a girl from Hong Kong, so I'm playing around a little with Canto to chat with her and her family. Is it a bad idea to learn both Chineses at the same time? At the moment, I know more Mandarin than Cantonese, and when I try to speak Cantonese, sometimes a Mandarin word comes to mind instead. E.g., I'll end up saying "Lao Xi Huan" or something. Should I drop Mandarin entirely since I have more opportunity to speak and practice Guanhua? Do you have tips for keeping them separate, especially similar vocabulary? Thanks for the response. I really admire the time and effort you put into helping your fans. Rock on. All right, Jake, welcome to the channel. Thanks for your question. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what your level of you said that you know more Mandarin. I'm not sure what your level is in that language, but I would definitely say if you're like at least an intermediate level, I think you'll be okay with learning Cantonese and them both at the same time. If you feel that you're still a beginner, it's probably not a good idea because just like how you mentioned, some of that stuff will start happening. Um, like me, like if I look at myself, like when I started learning Cantonese, I didn't find myself mixing stuff up like that. And it's because my level of Mandarin was higher than the Cantonese. So if you feel that you're mixing them up too much and you feel that you're at the beginner's level in Mandarin, I would drop that and maybe when you get better in Cantonese, pick it back up. So it's really up to you, whichever one is more appealing to you, whichever one you find more practice with, or just basically whichever one you feel more interested in learning. I will go with that one. So yeah, that's what I would do, sir. Thanks a lot for your question, and wish you the best with your language learning. Next question by Mr. Trinidad, Nelson Trinidad. Let's see here. I'm still struggling to learn Chinese, so maybe I should set an amount of sentences to study daily. According to your experience, would 5 to 7 sentences a day be enough to get to B1 by the end of the year? Okay, thanks a lot for your question, Mr. Trinidad. 5 through 7 sentences a day. Yeah, because I don't really, that's not my approach. I don't really do that. And I'm not in any way shooting down this approach. If you want to try, you can, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're going to be able to get to B1 by the end of the year. I'm not going to tell you that because I'll probably be lying because I don't know. I've never tried this approach before. 5 to 7 sentences a day. I've never tried it before. So yeah, I don't want to give you any bad advice on this and make it seem like it's going to guarantee you this B1 by the end of the year. I've never tried this. Like I said, I've never tried it. Like I learned a certain amount of sentences a day. I never tried that. All right. Next question by Amigu Somalu. Would you like to go to Albania for holiday? Is Albanian hard to learn? I would love to go to Albania for holiday. Why not? Why not? Albanian is hard to learn. It is different. Yeah, it's I would definitely say it's like harder than the Macedonian or Bulgarian. It's not an easy language to learn. But as I always say, if you have the interest in that language, if you're motivated, that takes care of the difficulty. It at least takes your mind off of that while you're having fun learning that language. Okay, next question. Thanks for your question, Amigu. The True Elemental. When learning Mandarin, 38 minutes. When learning Mandarin, would you recommend learning the pinyin before learning kanji, or one want to learn both at the same time for retention? Okay, it's a good question. I'm gonna just look at what I did for myself. I would say learning the pinyin will be the first thing you should do. Reason being is because you want to know how to spell out the words when you like for myself, I like to use chat rooms to get most of my practice in, especially when I'm at home. And pinyin, I started with that first, and when I got comfortable, then I started learning the characters. If you do them, you can do them at the same time. I don't want to say that you can't do them, but it doesn't take long to learn pinyin. It doesn't take long at all. So why not knock that out and then start learning the characters? That's what I would do. But if you want to, if you want to take that approach, learn both the pinyin and the characters at the same time, go ahead and give it a shot. Go ahead and give it a shot. Why not? Next question, the lone draftsman. Long question, long here. Okay. What do you think about learning apps using flashcards with the spaced repetition system, SRS? I've been using Skritter for the last few months for my Chinese character learning, but I started to get fed up with the entire thing. I love Skritter, but I only have 45 minutes a day to study Chinese. And it wasn't long before the character study in Skritter was taking up too much time. Almost all of it, almost all of it daily. The number of cards that you need to review daily starts to balloon. And if you miss a day, which I rarely did, you are essentially punished and have to do double the amount the next day just to catch up to what is due. It soon became less about learning and more about getting a job done. It was really demotivating. Unfortunately, this seems to be the one big problem with the SRS experience. It doesn't take into account available study time for the individual, and I feel like I can't reach a goal when I close the app with the reviews still due. I was wondering if you have any other good methods for character memorization. Right now, I've tried going back to just using my textbook and writing out the characters by hand in simple sentences for each chapter. I figure I'll also have a context with this approach, so maybe things will stick better. I do like using flashcards with Skritter. It's a it's a very nice interface, but I only have so much time to commit. I just started learning Japanese too, so I'm going to need a good method for memorizing kanji when I get to it. Please help, thanks. All right, the lone draftsman, thanks for your question. So yeah, this has come up many times in the past as well. Learning characters, which is a pain, it's really a pain. Um, yeah, it. I'm not a big fan of SRS, and again, I'm not shooting down. I never shoot down any methods. I just don't do that because certain methods work for certain people, you know. But for me, I'm not a really big fan of SRS. I never really used SRS before. Flashcard based systems, I never really used those. This just it's just not my thing. Now, when it comes to learning characters, for me, what is the for me, I feel that what you need to do when you learn characters is you have to have a context. Writing out, you can take a simple course, something like this, teach yourself like this, or Osimil, something with dialogues. Okay, something with dialogues, and write them out. Just you write them. Just do that. Write out next lesson. Write them out. Next lesson. Write them out. Because what's going to happen is these characters, they're going to come up over and over again, and when that happens, you start to absorb them, and it's more enjoyable because you have a context. Whereas if you writing them out in an isolated way, it starts becoming taxing on time, and it's just taking up too much time, and it's going to feel that you're not learning them fast enough, and this is basically my experience. So what happened with me, I just started writing them out, writing dialogues out, and then going to chat rooms, chatting with people, and learning like that, and just doing that. So you can try that approach. Just write out dialogues, and when you do write out dialogues, try to find something that's really brief. I like Osimil because Osimil is very brief with their dialogues. They're not very long. Okay, you don't want to tire yourself out. Writing out characters for a long time it can become tiring depending on how much you're writing. So I like to copy short dialogues. That's what I like to do, and you can try that and see how that works for you. And like I said, it's more enjoyable because there's an actual context, okay? And then you see these characters pop up. When you see them characters pop up in the next 3 lessons ahead, that is really motivating. Like, wow, I saw this before, and I remember it because I saw it before. That's the repetition, okay? So you can try something like that, see how it works for you. But that's my suggestion. That's what I would do. Thanks a lot for your question, and I wish you the best with your Chinese. Joe Stewart, next question. Do you know any Japanese slang? I know a zasu, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, I know quite a bit of Japanese slang. This some like the Japanese, most of the slang I know is from like different areas. You have Osaka, then you have like the Tohoku. It's like from different areas. You know, it's like mixed up. But yeah, I know my fair share of slang Japanese. Sony Hyun, he said you forgot my question. I did. I wait. You forgot my question. Anyway, I will repost it again. Laoshu, are certain languages more precise than other? For example, I always hear that when you translate something to English, it doesn't feel the same, or that Cantonese is more vibrant than Mandarin, or Japanese is more intimate when describing one feeling to another. Thanks. Well, the trans definitely when you translate, it's really difficult to. Well, first of all, sorry for your question. I don't even remember. I don't know if I skipped over it in the previous Q&A video, but apologize for that. But as far as the difference, the feelings of translating, I would definitely say like it's really difficult to translate from Japanese to English. It's the translation is not always it's not always a direct translation in many of these languages. Um, that's what I've experienced. You have to like some of the you have to translate certain things that's close to that. It's not always a direct translation. You have to okay they saying this way. I'll just go ahead and translate it like this. It's close to that, and it can be it's possible, but it's not a direct translation. I just had this conversation with someone not too long ago. So definitely the feeling of the translation is not the same for all languages. Okay, next question. Terra con terra. Do you have any processes or techniques that you do to remember vocabulary? Which is the best meaning for remembering speaking, listening, writing, reading? Repetition. That right there is what's going to help you to remember vocabulary. As I just mentioned before about the Chinese characters, anything you do on repetitive it will help you to absorb the vocabulary. And I follow I do when I learn things, I'm very repetitive. I do it over and over and over again. Over listening, I listen to things over and over. I get insane with it. I just listen like crazy. I just do it over and over again. Just put them hours in, put that time in doing that. That's what I do. So repetition is key for a lot of things. And that is the last question. And we are for about 50 minutes in. Wow. I didn't expect it. I didn't think it was going to be that long. But yeah, I did spend quite a bit of time on some of the questions. But yeah, that is it for this Q&A. If you guys have any questions, this is the rule. So when you have a question that you want me to respond to in this video here, you're going to post it there and I'm going to answer in the next video. That's how this works. Okay? And appreciate all the questions. I know this video was a bit late, but we got it made, and I will make the other one. Okay? So if you guys have any other questions, let me know in the comment section or send me an email. You have my email in the description area. All right? Take care. Thanks for viewing. Be happy. Keep grinding, getting that money. All right, guys.